Hi there, and welcome back to Code Fancy for part 2 of our CSS slide menu tutorial. We're going to take a look at styling the framework that we built in part 1. So let's go ahead and dive in. We're back here in CodePen. We're going to focus, again, primarily on the CSS portion of the screen. First, we're going to start by creating a quick reset. I'll talk about resets in another video down the line. Basically, for the purposes of this video, we're going to reset the margins and padding so that those don't get in the way later on. So essentially, the browser has default set. Some elements have margins, padding, and some other elements that we are going to clear so that they don't bother us. Again, like I said, we're going to be fabulous coders, and we are going to comment everything. So I will go ahead and label this reset. Underneath here, we're going to go ahead and, if I can get my keyboard in order here, that's not correct. Here we go. We're going to go ahead and build out the menu. So we're going to need a few things here. We're going to need we'll call this the menu. That'll be our parent. Then we're going to need the items and the bar itself. I like to leave room for kind of utilities, just in case something comes up that doesn't fit neatly into one of these categories. The first thing, come to mention it, is going to be our typography. So I'm going to go ahead and just quickly set a font family to, we'll just use Arial for now. And we'll add sans serif as a backup. And put our semicolon there. So that's going to make everything look all nice and neat. Now getting into the menu, if we go back to our markup up here, we actually need to add a class to our nav. We'll call it slide menu. All right, so back down here in our styling, we need to reference slide menu. And let's add a little bit of styling here. Let's give it a max width of about 600 pixels. Sounds about right. And then we'll center that up. Oh, I need to add brackets here. I'll get rid of that one and add this guy back here. Perfect. Okay. Now what we're going to do is we're going to add a margin here. We're going to say we want 50 pixels, give or take, top and bottom. And then on the left and right, we're going to set that to auto. And what that's going to do is that's going to center up our whole component. Just so I can illustrate what happened there, I'm going to set the background to red just to kind of give you a picture of what we just did. Next, what we're going to do, I think that's all I wanted to do with that main piece. We need to actually get rid of these radio buttons. So what we're going to do is we're going to find that class. I think we called them toggle. I'm going to put these under utilities for now. And we're just going to set the display to none. And what that's going to do is that's going to get rid of those really ugly circles, since we don't need them. I'm going to add some space here. Okay, so now focusing back on our menu, we're going to make a new class. We're going to reference a class. Slide menu is our parent, and we want to grab the label. That's going to be where we have home, about, folio, and blog. What we want to do is we want to set the width of those elements to 25%. We have 4 of them, and 100% divided by 4 is going to fall neatly into that 25%. And hopefully that will work. Why is it not doing what I want it to? Slide menu, label, 25%. Oh, we need these to display as inline block to get those nice and neat within our box here. Now, inline blocks are a little bit funny. Again, back to our reset, something we didn't care for. Some browsers will add an extra pixel to the left of inline block elements if they're not stacked right in line with each other. So what we're going to do is we're going to add another class here, slide menu, label, and what we want to do is we want to select pretty much all the labels except the first one. So we're going to do label plus label, and we're going to do a margin left, and we're going to set that to -1 pixels, and that should bring everything nice and neat back in line, but it's not. Let's see if we bring that up to all of our elements. 2 pixels. Will that make you happy? 3? Oh. Well, that's no good. Well, let's try something else here. Instead of inline block, we're going to make these block elements. And what we're going to do is we are going to float those elements to the left. Perfect. So now what we need to do, since we did that, and I'll talk about this more later on, but we need to create a clear. So I'm going to create I'll just make a div for now with a class of clear. Cool. And we need to go back up to our utilities and define clear. And we're going to clear both. Cool. So what that did is, since all of our elements are floating to the left, we need to tell the browser where to stop floating things so that we get our nice frame back in order here. Okay, so looking back down here at the labels, another thing we want to do is we want to make sure everything inside those labels is centered. Text, align, center. Perfect. Okay. So I told you early on to add some span tags within our label. So what that's going to do is allow us to add some padding without disrupting the structure of what we created. So let's add, let's do 10 pixels top and bottom. I think that's really all we need. We can do 10 pixels all the way around. That's fine. And that should populate. Oh, I need to change this to display block as well. Okay, there we go. Nice and pretty. All right. So that kind of puts our labels in order. Let's go ahead and get rid of this red background since we can kind of see what's going on up here. In the next video, we will talk about the actual toggle interaction and how to put that together. Thank you and enjoy.